All right, thanks for joining us here today. I've got with me Regan McGovern, who is a teaching professional at Golf Tech. And just a little bit about Regan, he has been a golfer his whole life. He has won his club championships at age 15, gone on to then represent his state at a state level playing golf all around Australia, became a pro, and then he's obviously gone and transitioned across now. He's a coaching pro as well and does a lot online, particularly during lockdown. This is how I've discovered Regan and his great work. So I'm very honoured to have him here today just to answer a couple of questions about how we can all sort of navigate the online space of golf, but also make a smooth transition as we all sort of get out of this lockdown and sort of dust off the clubs and dust off our bodies. So thanks so much for joining me today, Regan. Good to have you.
And thank you very much, Ray. Really appreciate those kind words of intro. You didn't have to do that. Great to be with you, mate. And as you mentioned, yeah, it's been great to connect and I suppose maybe combine both our love of golf and maybe two different areas, and yeah, try and help as many people as we can.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty. I mean, we've been working together just a short time now, but both having a great understanding of, you can coach and there's so many parts to the game that you are just such an expert in. And then I'm just staying in my lane of helping people move better so that they can then keep playing golf. And I think it's a really good combo.
For sure.
So I might lead us off with question number one that's come in here is the
Perfect.
biggest do nots when returning to the first round of golf. Do you have a list there of things we shouldn't do?
I certainly do. Yeah, that's a good one, and especially with this lockdown and everyone's so eager to get back on the golf course. There's probably a couple of things, but I would say most importantly, do your best to try and manage your expectations. Like, as we know, even if a lot of us are fortunate enough to maybe have a bit of a setup like I do, we might have still worked on our golf, but we haven't played golf for a long time. So I'd say try and manage those expectations in terms of maybe a score and outcome, more focus on, the enjoyment, maybe warming the body up, getting yourself ready, but try and take away the end result and focus more on the experience, getting back into those feels. And it might sound quite simple, but it's been a long time for a lot of us here, especially in Victoria, and getting back is going to be the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, big time. And I've got my first round booked in this Sunday, and I think You've hit the nail on the head as to enjoy being grateful for playing golf with a mate, being outdoors.
Yeah.
And I'll try not to score too hard and just focus on good, smooth swings. I like that.
Exactly.
Any other major things to do not do that you can think
yes,
of?
I think a couple of things. If, for example, any of your golfers out there or clients might have been working on particular parts of their body or maybe even golf swing with myself, do your best to try and not go and play golf swing. So what I mean is if you've been lucky enough to have a space and work, do your very best to try and take that into a more natural state. So don't try and work on the mechanics. Again, go out and execute golf shots, pick clubs to targets and so on. Try and let the work, hopefully you've done, fall into place. And again, give yourself some time. It's one round's not going to get you back to where you were. It's going to take time and multiple rounds.
I love it. Yeah, keep it simple. And I think, I'm only able to play 9 holes anyway. I'm not sure it's going to count to the handicap. So it makes even more sense.
Yeah.
Just to have some fun. Awesome.
Definitely.
Any more on that side of things not to do?
Yeah, I would say probably a third one, and it's maybe not as common or as thought about, is don't go out there trying to play the perfect round of golf. And what I mean by that is, again, if people have been doing work on shot shaping or parts of the body, whatever it would be, don't go away from what you've done. Now, I know we've had a bit of a break, but hopefully most golfers that play at a reasonable level, they understand what they can do, what's predictable. Don't try and all of a sudden go out and try and play draw if you hit fades or vice versa. Don't try and live outside your world. Stick to what you know. Again, go through those routines and processes and just let it happen. Don't try and do what you're not capable of so early on.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that advice. And I can't wait to actually reflect on this once I've gone and tried and played. We'll just see,
for sure.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up video as to how well I successfully executed this advice that you're giving here. We might move on to this next question of you've been doing so much on Instagram and I keep following all these videos, and I'm just wondering out there, even I've been doing this myself during lockdown. So does learning via YouTube or Instagram sort of work? And perhaps how should we sort of use the content that's out there to our advantage? Just your thoughts on that would be amazing.
Definitely great question. And yeah, it's something that I've sort of delved into for a while. And as you mentioned, you're doing the same. I think that's so helpful for golfers, maybe if they're looking for some advice or some help, or maybe even to find a coach. I think YouTube, Instagram, any of that instructional online space is fantastic. All I would say is be so careful not to take something as gospel. So for example, a particular coach might work on something on YouTube. It might be a craze or a specific position. And that might be fantastic advice, but that might not apply or be applicable to you. So be so careful of taking that and say, that is exactly what I need. Look more for how does that coach present themselves? What sort of information have they got? And then maybe explore coming to see them, learning online, or even do a catch up like we are here. I think it's helpful, but I think it's part of the process. It's more of introducing maybe the golfer to what they want to know versus, all right, I've got all the knowledge now, or I've got all the tips, I'm good. Be very careful how you try and take in online information. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I know I'm a sucker for clicking the biggest and brightest promise and headline on that YouTube video, and then I get in there and I go, this is great. But exactly. Yeah, I think tread with caution, and yeah, I'm always experimenting or testing it to see how it feels and how it aligns with what I've previously known. Is it fitting within the picture that I think's right as a golf swing?
Yeah.
Trial and error, and then obviously run it past probably a professional like yourself to,
and even just quickly, you're correct. Even as a coach, that I'm 30, I'm still relatively young. I feel like I've got a good knowledge base, but I'm still learning. So even though I'm mainly a coach, I still obviously want to play golf myself. I go and look at instruction. I never feel like I'll ever stop learning as a coach or a golfer. So I will look at things like yourself or different golf instructors, and I might try some things or try and adapt stuff. But what I'm saying is don't be afraid to go and search for stuff, but be careful that you don't take that and go, all right, that is what I need. I'm now fixed, so to speak. Be careful how you go about it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I've just got one final question here, and it was more around, we probably could have cut this one 2 months ago, 8 weeks ago, but what might be some of the top strategies for someone to improve their golf off the course? And obviously the biggest example is this current lockdown that we're in.
Yes.
I've got my thoughts on it, but I'd love to hear your strategies on how can we best improve our golf game when we're not at the course.
Great question. It's definitely something I think both of us, we've chatted a lot about. Maybe we get messages regularly. Golfers, as we know, we're starved for golf. We want to play. So what can we do that maybe helps us learn and improve? It gives us that golf bug, so to speak, without doing it on the golf course. And I think this is the time and space for maybe your swing changes, your technical work. So I like to call this my lab. It's just my garage where I've got some stuff set up. This is the time where I maybe do my feedback for my students. I work on my own golf swing. And I think the best thing for us is our phone. We talk about so often feeling something or trying to create a feeling. Well, the phone and the video doesn't lie. I think that would be the first and foremost thing to do. Chuck your phone on, have a look at maybe your golf swing and your movement, then relay that to maybe whatever feelings you have. See this right here purely as that time to do your swing work, where the great thing about a net, in my opinion, you're not so worried or reacting to the result. You're purely focusing on what did that feel like, and then maybe check your phone or your camera and go, what did that look like? And then you've got a good pathway to go from there.
Brilliant. And if you don't know what to look at, and you pull out your camera and you start filming it and you go, well, looks like me trying to hit a golf ball, what's some steps maybe as to how they can do that?
Yeah, for sure. And exactly, if maybe someone is new to golf or they've never had any instruction or coaching, that can definitely be something that can happen that we see. Maybe reach out to a coach. As we know, these day and age, we're so lucky with our technology, phones and how accessible things are. So it's easy to get knowledge, but it's not always easy to get the correct knowledge or, the correct information. I would reach out for a coach, for example, that we've been chatting about. I think nothing beats standing next to a person reacting. But what I've found has been so helpful with online training lessons is someone will send me, say, some golf swing information. I will send them specific, so they're not trying to think about or react. They've got a plan right in front of them. And then very quickly I can check in within a few days or a week and go, all right, Ben, how's your grip looking, or how's your backswing looking? So that communication, I think, is key. And even if it's only online, reaching out to a coach, someone that maybe speaks the same language, gives you some information you wanted to know. Nothing beats having another set of eyes to work on things.
Yeah, big time. And I think that's where, dare I say it, tailoring that advice. I mean, if you take YouTube and Instagram,
Definitely.
put them together, add up how many golf videos are on there, it's got to be in the millions at this stage.
It's a big world.
Don't quote me on that. But I guess a coach or a second set of eyes is giving you that, what you should be watching, what video should you be watching, or what 1 to 2 or 3 main points should you be looking at with the video. And then you can just hammer and focus on those few points and like you said, test and measure and learn as you go along. That's awesome.
Perfect, Ben. And even just on that too, I think it might sound quite trivial to people, but the way we film and the way we get those angles is super important. I'm sure you'll even know if maybe you're doing a consult with someone. We did a few weeks ago when I was looking at my movement. Our angles and how we film is very important, not only for coach, but also for the student to look at that. So that's important.
Yeah, and I think COVID sort of taught us on our telehealth. I keep joking with our clients, being like, you're going to get like a degree in media here, because you're moving the camera left, right, and you're getting it right. So you can do these exercises. So I think everyone's really adapting, and I can only see people, getting better at golf in more innovative ways in the future due to this sort of challenging time. But, with that, there's some growth there. So that's the 3 top questions that I had in here today, Regan. So I really appreciate you joining me here. And for sure, I'll share your details off this, and really appreciate your insights today. Thank you.
Mate, thanks again for having me. And it's been so good to reach out. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully, both of us, we can team up. Any questions you might have, find us both on our social medias, our websites. End of the day, we're here to help. We all love our golf, and we just want to try and make as many people as best as we can.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Cheers, Regan.